Hey everyone, meteorologist Zach Holder here, just watching back some of the raw footage from our weather cameras. At first, we just have the wall cloud. Now, this is a time lapse, it's sped up, but you can see the air just rising rapidly on the edge of that wall cloud. That's when in my head, I kind of had the feeling, the sinking feeling that the tornado was about to drop, and we were just kind of waiting for that funnel to form. First touches down near the intersection of Race and Caraway, doing damage to Magic Touch Cleaners, and then Gateway across the road. At one point, you're going to see the roof of Gateway just get ripped off and thrown into the air and just surround the tornado for a few more miles until it throws it down. The tornado weakened a little bit as it moved through the parking lot of Academy, but did extensive damage to Cheddar's and then moved towards the mall. Notice how the top of this tornado is much wider at certain points, especially early on in its life, than at the bottom. I really think we could have seen a larger damage path of EF-3 damage and maybe even EF-4 or EF-5 if the trunk of that tornado was as wide as at the top. I think some of the stronger winds managed to stay above the surface. I don't think it was able to fully condense down to the ground, and I think that did help limit some of the damage. I think it could have been a lot worse than an EF-3 if everything had come together just right. Thankfully, it did not. After it crossed Red Wolf and was going through the mall, you start to really see it intensify. And then by the time it got to the airport, which you'll see later on, it was much thicker. The trunk of that tornado was much thicker, and it started to approach EF3 status. Probably the strongest winds were at the airport and then the neighborhoods past the airport. Once you get towards Prospect Road, that's when you really start to see just how bad the damage was. And so our weather cameras kind of start taking power hits, and so we kind of have to jump back and forth. And so you'll see the one come back online after it went out, and then we kind of jump over to First National Bank, starting it back out before the tornado formed. And then you see it form, and then eventually the power hits start happening again. You'll see the power flashes as the power kind of goes in and out as that tornado just continues to move towards a lot of people past the airport. Probably our most impressive angle of this tornado was from our NEA Baptist weather camera, so sitting along Highway 49, and this is when it's at its peak. It starts to weaken a little bit towards the end of the video, but this is this tornado at its strongest. EF3, 140-mile-per-hour winds, and it just did damage across Prospect Road, and then eventually started moving to Old Bridger Road and Bridger Place subdivision, which I toured the day after the tornado, and the damage was incredible. EF3 definitely damaged in those neighborhoods. Eventually, we kind of lose sight. The rain wraps around behind the tornado, and it starts to de-intensify, so it starts to weaken a little bit down to an EF2. It doesn't lift until past Brooklyn, so on a total, it was on the ground 12 miles, and at the end of this video, continued for at least probably, I think, 2 to 4 more miles before lifting and then dropping down in Greene County. Watching this video back, I still can't believe only 22 were hurt and no deaths from this. Watching it in real time, being on air covering it, I was really anticipating this to be killing people while I was watching it go live on television and covering it live. So very thankful, very, very lucky. We did not have a worse situation across the city of Jonesboro.